field is set for the Lexus Melbourne Cup. Ready to run. Stand by for a start. Gates crash and they're racing in the Melbourne Cup. Grand Marshal, well back as Bondi Beach and Pentathlon, beautiful romance. Then Sir John. At the top of the straight, at the 400 metres, a length and a half. Floating Artist, here's Very Elegant. She's coming home, 300 to go. The Mighty Mare moves up to Incentivise and races on by. Then Floating Artist, Spanish Mission. But Very Elegant at the 150. The darling of the turf has raced clear 3 lengths Incentivise. And it's Very Elegant, 10 Group 1s. And now the greatest of them all, the Melbourne Cup.
Hello and welcome to the 12th annual Josh Ryan Melbourne Cup Sweep. Thank you for joining me, and to all those taking part, thank you for being part of this sweep. As most of you do know who've been here before, the sweep was started back in 2011 when I found out that my grade 7 class wasn't going to be doing a sweep for Melbourne Cup Day. So I was a little upset by that, so I took it upon myself to make up my own sweep on Melbourne Cup Day just with immediate family. And I think if I remember correctly, the prize, there was no money involved, but I think the prize might have been like a chocolate egg for first place. So it's certainly come a long way to where we are now, where today we've got, for the first time, 3 different sweeps. So normally it is just a main sweep. Last year we introduced a secondary sweep because we had overflow, and we had so much demand this year that we've had to go to a 3rd sweep as well. So the way they will be run is the main sweep will be a $10 sweep, the secondary sweep will be a $5 sweep, and the tertiary sweep will also be another $5 sweep. So what that means is that we currently have 26 individual entrants in the sweep. Now, of those 26, obviously only 24 can go in the main sweep. So everyone will get 1 entry with the exception of 2, Joseph Barron and Amy Ryan, who have been moved to the secondary and tertiary sweep. So that will be adjusted with their amounts respectively. So it's going to be a very good Melbourne Cup this year, I reckon. We went from last year where we had Very Elegant, Australia's champion horse, really showed her class and ran to the front of the field and just took it away. In what was some would describe as almost a low quality field last year, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but it wasn't the strongest field we've seen due to COVID restrictions and everything. We didn't have a lot of the international horses. This year we've got a fair few more international horses back over, including the race favourite, who's currently at time of recording sitting around $4. So it's a pretty short price favourite for Melbourne Cup standards, not as short as Incentivise was last year, but that was a special horse. Now, unfortunately, Very Elegant won't be back to defend her crown because her racing career is now finished after her, I guess some could say, ill-fated trip over to Europe, where it didn't unfortunately go the way she'd hoped and try and win the Arc, but heck, she's one of the greatest racehorses, one of the best racehorses, that we've put out from Australia, although she's probably New Zealand as well. So what I'm going to do is now up on screen, I'm going to show you our prizes for the sweep. So what you see here now is the main prize. So our first prize in the main sweep. So what you've got there is inside this wonderful little gift box, you've got $120 in cash, a Melbourne Cup pin, a celebratory commemorative sweep pin in gold for the winner, and for the first time ever, we also have a winner's medallion, which you can see there, and in the back it is engraved with 12th annual Josh Ryan Melbourne Cup Sweep first prize. So that's what the main sweep is. That's the main prize that we're all after, but there's also prizes for second, third, and last. So second receives $80 in cash, as well as a second prize sweep pin, as you can see here. Then there's also the third prize, which is $40, and the bronze pin. Last prize will be 3 lollipops this year, along with a last prize pin. Now, for the secondary sweep, that's also up on the screen now. You can see secondary sweep is just cash and badges. So first prize in the secondary sweep is $60 and the sweep badge. Second prize is $40 and third prize is $20. So Each of those comes with the sweep badge, the little red badge to signify it's our secondary sweep. Now, moving to the tertiary sweep, it's exactly the same as the secondary sweep in terms of prizes, although this time it's in a nice blue badge as opposed to the red one and in the blue envelopes. So now you can see those are all the prizes that we've got running. So get excited because a sweep is just about to happen. Earlier today, what we've done is we've put in the order of the sweep in through a random sweep generator. So based on who's in the sweep and who's going where, it was done up alphabetical order. So I'll flip you back over to that now and take a look at the order of the sweep.
Okay, so as I've just said, everyone has one entry in the main sweep, with the exception of Joseph Barron and Amy Ryan, who have entries in the secondary and tertiary sweeps. So what we have here is a list of everyone in alphabetical order by first names. So this list will be copied across and put into a random list generator to give us our order of the sweep. So as we can see here, everyone is in the random list generator, and the order of the sweep will be as follows. So, as we can see there, our sweep order will be as follows. With first pick will be Regan, then Josh, Jacob, Kate, Kiara, Blake, Lachlan Milford, Chris, Cassie, Cara Lee, Paul, Anne, Anna, Jared, Braden, Lachlan Griffiths, Michael, Renee, Ben, Tony, Megan, Trisha, David, and Danny will be the last pick.
Okay, so it's time. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's the 12th annual Josh Ryan Melbourne Cup sweep draw. So this is for the main sweep, and let's go with first pick goes to Regan Griffiths. So with first pick in the 12th annual Josh Ryan Melbourne Cup sweep, Regan Griffiths receives horse number 12, Huyamal. The second sweep will be for myself, Josh, and I receive horse number 6, Without a Fight. Our next third pick, it goes to Jacob, and Jacob receives horse number 22, High Emotion. Our next pick goes to Kate, and Kate, for your pick, you will receive horse number 5, Numerian. Next up is Kiara, and Kiara's horse is horse number 9, Stockman. Next we have Blake, and Blake, for your pick, you have horse number 2, Jewess. After Blake, we've got Lachlan Milford, and Lachlan Milford receives horse number 16, Arafal. Next is Chris, and Chris, for her sweep, receives horse number 11, Young Werther. Next is Cassie, and Cassie, your sweep is horse number 20, Charlie Rose. Next is Cara Lee, and Cara Lee, your horse is horse 21, Point Nepean. Next is Paul, and Paul receives horse number 18, Lunar Flare. Next is Anne, and Anne receives horse number 14, Daquin Sweet Jr. Now, Anne actually won this last year, so she is our defending champion. Can she go back-to-back with Daquin Sweet Jr.? Who knows? We'll find out. After Anne, we've got Anna. Now, Anna receives horse number 23, Interpretation. The next sweep is for Jared, and Jared receives horse number 1, the top weight, Gold Trip. Perhaps best suited to a wet track, which we may very well get on Tuesday. Next, we have Braden, and Aussie, you receive horse number 7, Kimura. Next, we have Lachlan Griffiths, who was a winner in 2020 with Twilight Payment. Now, obviously, Twilight Payment's not here this year, but Lachlan receives another one of Lloyd Williams' runners, horse 13, Serpentine. Next is Michael, And Michael, you receive the favourite, horse number 8, Deauville Legend. A real classy, quality European horse. Next is Renee, and Renee, you receive horse number 24, Realm of Flowers. It's been tipped by quite a few early on, especially with it being a lightweight and the potential rain. Next is Ben, and Ben receives horse number 10, Vow and Declare. Now, Vow and Declare won in 2019. Can it go again and get a second win after a while? It's been a while since, but who knows? Next up is Tony. Tony receives horse number 3, Knight's Order. Winner of the Sydney Cup earlier this year. Another chance in the wet, perhaps. Next up is Megan, and Megan receives horse number 4, Montefilia. Next we have Trisha, and Trisha receives horse number 17, and the Caulfield Cup favourite, Smoke and Romans, which will be ridden by Jamie Carr, one of the true class and informed jockeys. Next is David, and David, your horse is horse number 15, Grand Promenade. And finally, that leaves us with just one left in our main sweep, goes to Danny with the final pick in the 12th annual Josh Ryan Melbourne Cup sweep, our main sweep. Danny receives horse number 17, the Geelong Cup winner, Emissary. Okay, so we've done our main sweep, and now we're on to our secondary sweep. So just like we did before, did the order of the sweep done, and now you will see in this time there are people with multiple entries, and the entries aren't equal. So that's based off who's paid, when they paid, and how much they paid, and it's been adjusted across the secondary and tertiary sweeps. So what you can see, and you will be about to see soon, is the order we're going to do it. Everyone's in the first round that's in those sweeps, and then they will drop out. That will be explained further on. So jump back over, take a look at them, and this will be the secondary sweep.
So, as we've said, we have also the secondary sweep. Now, this is the $5 sweep, which will also be a run-over based on people who were left. So, entries in this, we have Josh has 4 entries in this sweep. Then, with 2 entries each, is Braden, Danny, Jared, Lachlan Griffiths, Michael, and Regan. And then with 1 entry each is Ben, Cassie, David, Jacob, Joseph, Kiara, Chris, and Trisha. So what we'll do, much like the same with the main sweep, everything goes into the random list generator, and we've put this in alphabetical order by order of sweep numbers. So our sweep order is as follows. Gives us, in the first round of the secondary sweep, the order will be as follows. David, Jared, Regan, Kiara, Michael, Cassie, Trisha, Ben, Danny, Josh, Chris, Braden, Jacob, Joseph, and Lachlan. Now in the second round, it will only be those with 2 or more entries, and that order is as follows. It's still the same order as we had in the first round, just with those only with 1 entry dropping out. So that being Jared, Regan, Michael, Danny, Josh, Braden, and Lachlan. And then the third and fourth rounds will consist solely of Josh.
Okay, so now it's time for the secondary sweep, which as you've seen previously is a $5 sweep, with the prizes obviously being 60, 40, and 20. We now move on to the secondary sweep. So, with first pick in the secondary sweep, we're going to have David will be the first sweep. So, David receives horse number 5, Numerian. Second up is Jared, and he receives horse number 17, Smoke and Romans. Next is Regan, and Regan, for your horse in the secondary sweep, you receive horse number 4, Montefilia. Next is Kiara, and Kiara receives, with her first pick, Charlie Rose, horse 20. Next up is Michael, and so for Michael's first pick, he receives horse number 7, Kimura. Next is Cassie, and Cassie receives horse number 23, Interpretation. Trisha is next to go, and Trisha receives horse number 9, Stockman. Next up is Ben, and for Ben's sweep, he receives horse number 18, Lunar Flare. The winner of the Bart Cummings Stakes earlier in the year, which got it in and is, in my opinion, a pretty good chance at winning this thing. Should be able to run the distance, especially with a lightweight, and has been in phenomenal form of late. So next up is Danny, and Danny's horse is horse number 2, Jewess. Now, next we have Josh, and so for myself, my first pick is horse number 21, Point Nepean. Next up is Chris, and with Chris's sweep, she receives horse number 14, Daquian Sweep Jr. Next we have Braden, and Braden receives horse number 3, Knight's Order. Jacob is next to go, and Jacob receives horse number 6, Without a Fight. Next up is little Joseph Barron in his first sweep. He receives horse number 11, Young Werther. And finally, Lockie Griffiths, for his sweep, he receives horse number 10, Vow and Declare. So now we move on to the second round. So those who only had one entry in the secondary sweep drop out, and we move on to those with 2 or more. So first up is Jared in the second round, and Jared receives horse number 17, Emissary. Next up is Regan, and Regan receives horse number 15, Grand Promenade. Next we've got Michael, and Michael receives horse number 13, Serpentine. Next up is Danny, and Danny receives horse number 22, High Emotion. Next we have Josh, and for my second pick, I receive horse number 8, Deauville Legend, The Favourite. Who knows if it will go on or not. Next up is Braden, and Braden with his second pick, he receives horse number 1, the top weight, Gold Trip. Next we have Lachlan, and Lockie Griffiths, you receive, with your second pick, horse 12, Huya Mal. Now, as we can see for the third and fourth rounds, there's only myself left in the secondary sweep, and so third round pick is horse number 16, Arafo, and final pick is horse 24, Realm of Flowers. Okay, so finally we've got the tertiary sweep, which will follow the exact same process as the secondary sweep, but obviously those who are in the tertiary sweep. So I'll flick you back across now to our sweep order that we've done earlier.
Okay, so as for the tertiary sweep, we have, again, a few people with 2 entries and then some people with just 1 entry. So, again, alphabetical order by first name and in the individual entry categories. So, putting that into our random list generator once more time gets us the following. Okay, so what this gives us is the following. So for the first round in our tertiary sweep, it goes Jacob, Ben, Regan, Kiara, Michael, Joseph, Kate, Amy, Trisha, Jared, Braden, David, Cassie, Josh, Lachlan, and then Danny. Now again, like the secondary sweep, in the second round, those with just 1 entry will drop out, and it will be left in the same order as from the first round, but only those with 2 entries. So that will be Regan, Kiara, Michael, Trisha, Jared, Braden, Josh, and Lachlan to finish.
Okay, so it's now time for the tertiary sweep. We've seen the order, and so first up will be Jacob. So let's get ready, and here we go for the tertiary sweep. With the first round pick in our tertiary sweep, the first ever tertiary sweep, Jacob receives horse number 23, Interpretation. Next is Ben, and Ben receives horse number 5, Numerian. Next is Regan, and Regan, you receive horse number 1, Gold Trip. Next up is Kiara, and Kiara receives horse number 10, Vow and Declare. Next is Michael, and Michael receives horse number 9, Stockman. Next up is Joseph, and Joseph receives Horse number 15, Grand Promenade. Next we have Kate, and Kate receives horse number 12, Huya Mal. Next we have Amy returning to the sweep after a couple-year absence. Amy receives horse number 4, Montefilia. Next we have Trisha, and Trisha receives horse number 2, Jewess. Next then is Jared, and Jared receives horse number 7, Kimura. Next we then have Braden, and Braden receives horse number 21, Point Nepean. Next is David, and David receives horse number 8, Deauville Legend, the favourite. Next we have Cassie, and Cassie will receive horse number 20, Charlie Rose. Next is myself. So Josh, I draw horse 17, Emissary. Next up is then Lachlan, and Lachlan receives horse number 22, High Emotion. And finally we have Danny. So Danny receives horse number 16, Arafal. And we now move on to our second round, and that will be starting off with Regan, who had 2 in this sweep. So Regan receives horse number 11, Young Werther. Also in the second round, with her second pick and final pick, is Kiara, and Kiara receives horse number 14, Daquian Sweet Jr. Next we have Michael, and Michael receives horse number 24, Realm of Flowers. We then have Trisha up next, and Trisha will receive horse number 6, Without a Fight. Next is Jared, and so Jared for his final pick receives horse number 17, Smoke and Romans. Next we have Braden, so Braden's pick, he receives horse number 3, Knight's Order. We now have our last 2 sweeps of the day. So in the tertiary sweep, we have myself. So I receive horse number 18, Lunar Flare. And the final sweep in the 12th annual Josh Ryan Melbourne Cup sweep for our tertiary sweep is Lachlan, and Lachlan receives horse number 13, Serpentine. So after that, that now concludes the 12th annual Josh Ryan Melbourne Cup sweep. Thank you for all being a part of it, and good luck. May your horse win, or if worst comes to worst, hope it comes in last, and that way you get a lollipop. So thank you all for being a part of it, and hope to see you all back next year.